Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today we're coming at you with some ancestral ghost cooking.
Yeah, this one's awesome. I'm right from the get-go. I'm going to say this one's just been awesome.
Yeah, educationally, entertainment-wise, gameplay, everything like that. This one's been a blast. But nonetheless, the game we're talking about today is Lost Recipes, a game on the official Oculus Quest store or MetaQuest store because, you know.
MetaQuest, my logo changed
this
week.
I was going to say I boot up my headset.
I lost my yellow, or my
your
white circle.
Which yeah. I won't say. I will say. I'm one of those people who's like, Oculus never die. I like the name Oculus more than Meta for the headsets, but that blue Loden logo isn't too bad. The only reason I'll say that is that old white one, I swear it would like pierce into my fucking skull. Like,
yeah, it was
burned into my eyes.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
So the nice blue Loden logo, although I do miss Oculus, that's not too bad. But nonetheless, so this is Lost Recipes made by Schell Games. It's currently rocking a 4.5 overall on the store with 159 total ratings and 97 written reviews. But it only came out January 27th, 2022, so kind of makes sense it's not flooded with reviews yet. And it's currently $14.99.
Which is more than reasonable.
Yeah, I'll say just on the fact that this is a very authentic, accurate, educational game. So it's not like they just whip up these random recipes or anything like that. There's a lot of work that went into designing this game.
Oh my God, yeah. No, I mean, all right. So I got the game on the pretense of its authenticity to cooking. And I mean, I'll say right from the get-go, there's only 9 recipes total in this game. But I got it because I wanted to see if you could carry over the actual cooking from the game to real life, which is always something that's intrigued me with VR, is the ability to take something from VR and bring it to the real life world. But no, they set it up where you're a ghost chef in training, which is kind of weird. I mean, they didn't need to do it that way, but they did, and it's not a bad thing. But and I'm thinking they did because you're cooking authentic,
old dishes.
Old. I mean, you know, talking hundreds of years old. Maybe even, I'm thinking a lot more than 100.
Yeah, depending on what the civilization that you're cooking for is. So yeah, like you said, you're a ghost cook in training, cooking for other ghosts. So they go along this whole theme that everybody involved in it lived in that time. Like, these are ghosts that were alive in, you know, the Maya civilization. They're not like, you know, connoisseurs in modern time. They're going for the theme that these are old people, you know?
Yeah, and they give you've got Greek, Chinese, and Maya is the 3 cultures that you'll get to experience. 3 recipes. I won't spoiler the recipes for any of them, but I'll tell you there's 3 for the Greek, 3 for the Chinese, and 3 for the Mayan. And I don't know, it's a really cool, I mean, I guess I should disclaim, I like to cook, you know, I'm interested in certain meals. I perfected very little in my life of, you know, being able to say I perfected them.
I don't think it's very hard to perfect a dish because you'll always be your own biggest critic with it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as cuisine, and here was the thing too, I thought like there might be dishes I've heard of before. And that wasn't the case. Every single dish that I made in this game was never a dish that I've even heard of.
No, and they hit you with names of things. Like, so, you know, you might have a mortar and pestle, and they'll tell you, like, hey, that's what it's called modern times, but back then, it was called this. So from now on, we're going to refer it to this.
The authenticity of this game, as far as the voiceover work, and you had mentioned in the credits, I think somebody had a PhD who was one of the research people. I mean, this is, if you want authenticity and learning, because every time you do something, like they'll say julienne in an ingredient, and if you don't know what that is, they'll kind of break it down twofold to you. One, they'll explain it kind of what we would term it as, and then they'll tell you the traditional term, using the traditional language of what it is, whether it's a cooking utensil or it's amazing. I can't say enough of.
And something that's big on this, because most cooking games, they kind of go for that high intensity
stress
atmosphere. They
yeah.
say it right in the store description, and it holds true throughout the whole game. It's not about speed. They say take your time, have a nice relaxing experience, figure it out. I mean, there's a couple times where you're grilling things that, obviously they're well done, like they're done to the doneness, don't let them burn. But it's pretty hard to let them burn too. There's not really like that rush panic, you can really sit back, take it in.
And they use happy tones for when you do something, right? So if you don't hear it, you kind of recognize that, okay, that should have gone longer, or I misread something or didn't put in the right ingredient. You'll be like, oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, they give you a step-by-step guide and kind of like a book. So the ghost chef of whatever civilization you're cooking for, they kind of like lead you through the whole dish itself. They'll teleport to one area, you'll go to it, you'll flip the switch in the page in the book, and then they'll give you a little backstory on that page, and they'll really like walk you through and help you through it. But some of the instructions they give are a little vague, so you can mess it up if you aren't looking for, like you said, the
happy
done
tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so whatever you're doing, whether you're chopping the appropriate amount of ingredients, cooking something, boiling something, pouring a certain amount, when you've hit the adequate amount, it'll like ding, and then there's like these yellow lines that come out of it. So if you aren't looking out for that, and it's just like chop some onions, and you chop a couple onions and you think you're good, you're not. You should chop until you get that ding.
Yep, absolutely.
And when you're all done with the meal, you put it on the serving table, you ring the bell, the ghost, whoever you're cooking for, they come over and num 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 num, gobble it all up, say a little bit of words, and depending on what they say, you kind of have an idea of what rating you're gonna get. But then you get a score rating of 1 to 5. Basically, how
5 stars.
Yeah, how well you did the cooking, the ingredients, the prep, the presentation. But what's cool about it is if you get a star gone, they'll tell you like, I don't think the tortilla was cooked enough, or this was a little underdone, or I think an ingredient was missing from the chocolate.
Yeah.
So
no, they that's one of the cool things too, is, and again, there's no stress with the cooking, but if you can, it's not stressful to try to get the 5 stars, but it's definitely challenging.
Yeah,
because there could be something that says, 1 spoon of this and then equal parts water and vinegar or wine, and maybe you pour just a little too much or you pour too little. I mean, there's room for error. To get the 5 stars I've only gotten, I think, three 5 stars out of 9.
So for me, on the entire Greek civilization, my first go through, I got all 4 stars, 4 out of 5. Well, of course, it was my first time playing as well. That's the first civilization.
Yeah.
The next civilization, I got my first 2 recipes 3 stars my first go through, and then my third recipe, I got 4 stars because of a really foolish mistake, and it bothered me. And I even went to go redo the recipe to be like, all right, I'll get 5 stars, and I made a different mistake. I was so bummed at myself. And then the third civilization, same thing. 2 of the 3 recipes in my first go through, I got the 5 stars. But it's pretty easy to make a mistake without noticing. Like, you'll be pretty confident putting that dish on the serving board, and they'll gobble it up, and you're like, I already know based off of what she said, it's not 5 stars.
Yeah, if you don't hear the ghost, and the ghost is represented as almost like a little element,
Ember, flame.
Yeah, like a flame, but one might be blue, red, whatever,
pink, whatever. Yeah.
So you're not getting like a visual avatar of whatever culture you're cooking for.
No,
but
they
the
do.
Voiceover, dude, come on, man. They nailed it with again, I'm more impressed with the educational value of this than anything else about it.
Yeah, they say it right in the load in that everybody involved, like the speakers in it, these are authentic native speakers from, whatever civilization, So, like you said, the gameplay in it's a lot of fun, but learning about these different civilizations, the terms they use, the different recipes they use that you might not have heard of, like you said.
The methods.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to go in and cook tacos or hot dogs or whatever.
No. And with some of them, and I won't spoil it because I actually thought it was kind of deep. You learn the reasons why some of these recipes are so important to these cultures, like what the reason behind, and you can take for granted it's just food, But in some cultures, it's just a little more than just food.
Yep, they might be like, this is part of this festival, and this is celebrating.
I don't want to blow any. Why are you talking, bro?
Yeah, that's that. I didn't say what they're celebrating or what the festival.
No, don't say nothing, because there's some deep shit that goes on with some of the recipes.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Like you said, from an educational standpoint, they knocked it out of the park, and it's cool to know how authentic it was. That's why like somebody might play this and be like, oh, or look at it in the store and say, oh, only 9 recipes, whatever. But like, it's not like you can just add another recipe super easy in this game. There's a lot of work you can tell went into it to each individual recipe.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing: there's not a recipe that you cook that's not 100% authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take those recipes from this VR world, and I'll admit some of them, there's no way in hell, because some of the ingredients in themselves would just be a pain in the ass to get a hold of. But a few of them you could actually pull off. I know there's at least 3 that I think we could pull off.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's a couple times where like they hold your hand, like so you mentioned julienning. Like at one point they have you julienne something.
Yeah,
julienning
something.
Julienning something in real life. For me, I'm not good at it. It's hard to do. But in the game, you cut the knife with it, one stroke, and it automatically julienne. So there's a little bit of more skill you would have to do in real life than perhaps they do with you in the game.
Correct, but you're seeing the finished product.
Yeah, absolutely. So it would be very simple to be like, all right, how to julienne? Go on YouTube, watch a video, and julienne the thing that they tell you to. It's not like or another example, they might have you grind something, and
not everyone has a mortar and pedestal.
Well, what I was gonna say, it's not like they make you sit there and do it for like a minute or 2 minutes like it might take in real life. They're pretty generous with 1 or 2 hits and then it smash up, but it's better that way.
Well, how's this? You could say it's the equivalent of finding a recipe that you like and reading it. Because if you read a recipe, well, hear me out. If you read a recipe, it's just saying, add this, add that, add this, add that, when in real time it's going to take more than just the reading. So that's kind of what I was getting at, that it definitely, it's just like reading a recipe but actually getting to act it out. So just because you can read a recipe in 30 seconds doesn't mean to act out the recipe is going to take. That's why most recipes will say at the bottom, like, 30 to 45 minutes of prep time before you can even put it in the oven or whatever.
And, well, let's be real, too. If they made you actually julienne something, it would take away from the game, I think. I think that the way they do it is correct. To me, it's just educational. Yep, 100%.
You take your knife, and this is what it should look like after the knife goes through it.
Absolutely. I agree.
Although, when they make you quarter something, the margin room for error
is huge.
It's huge.
That was my biggest mess up.
I started holding my knife with 2 hands.
Mm-hmm. There's one dish where they're like, cut this slab of meat into, I think, 6 even pieces. And I was like, even pieces? Are you out of your mind? I think I restarted the recipe like 5 times trying to get them even. Because I would slice, I'd get like 3 and then I'd be like, nope, it's not even. There's no way.
See, I didn't restart, but I had some wonky looking chunks of meat.
Yeah, did it flag you for it? Did you get 5 stars? Or did you get 4?
I got 4, but I don't think it had anything. It didn't say like, hey, you served wonky meat. It's just like there's another one where it involves a piece of fruit, like a really small one, like maybe a grape.
That's a fun one.
And you slide it over, and it's like no matter what I did, I didn't feel like I was getting it centered enough. That was probably my biggest stress, was the game was wanting to be perfect, so that when the ghost ate my food, I could hear the happiness in the voice of like, oh my God, this brings me back.
Well, presentation is a tab that they grade you on, so maybe spending some time and,
Oh, dude, when they have the picture of like, oh, this, serve your food, I look at it and I try to duplicate exactly like the picture, even though I don't believe you have to, but I'm like, that's how they said it should look. That's how I'm serving it.
It's funny because I do the same thing. So, like, if maybe they'll have you make a tea with whatever dish you have, if the tea's in the upper left-hand corner on the picture, I'm putting the tea in the upper hand left corner on my table.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, no, I agree. But maybe it doesn't matter, but presentation's a tab. So I'm like, I'm making the presentation beautiful. There's even some times where, like, the plating of it, at first it's kind of like I'm like, that kind of looks a little sloppy, and I'll grab each different piece and I'll kind of like rearrange them and make it look more accurate to the picture on there. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's part of the fun of the game.
Yeah, I really started that after completing the Greek and jumped into the Chinese.
I found the Greek way harder than the Chinese.
Really?
Yeah. Because like I blew through the Chinese. The Chinese I got, incredibly high scores. The Greek.
I know I have a 5-star in Chinese. I think I got a 5-star in each one of the. Like one in the Greek, one in the Chinese, one in the Mayan.
But you know what else it could have been? It could have just been that the Greek was the first one. So maybe that was like me learning the game.
I went back and I redid one of the ones in the Greek. Because I wasn't. Here's the thing: you don't have to. You get 1 star and move forward. It's not like they're going to go, well, you didn't get enough stars to unlock the next one. You just have to complete each recipe. So that's kind of like nice as far as the chill goes. But I did go back and redo one of the Greeks because I was like, no, it was such a dumb mistake. I did something so dumb, and it bothered me after I moved on to the Chinese because I'm like, I know I can go and fix that. It was just so stupid.
Yeah, I redid one of the.
I think I was whining to you about it the other night too. Like, dude, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, you told me that you had one ready to serve, and then you messed it all up right before serving, right?
Yeah, and I tried to serve it.
And what's the lowest stars you got?
For that, 0.
They gave you 0?
No, they gave me like, you can't serve that. Yeah. It was just so like.
Okay, but what's the lowest stars you got while serving something? The lowest I got was 4. But I put a lot of time and effort into it. I won't lie.
Yeah, because I know there's no time crunch with this. I made sure that, like, on the little tablet that they show you, which isn't even like a tablet, it's almost like a cutting board. I think it is a cutting board with, the graphics on it. This is what you need to, and it could be something like add wood to your fire. And I'm going, okay, and I'll take my time and I'll add the wood to the fire.
But look for that little ding and everything, because even adding the wood to the fire, you add, a lot of the things you might add like 4 and then it dings. But if you just add 1-2 pieces of wood and think you're good, your thing might not be hard enough. So look for that ding for everything you do, stirring, scooping.
Including like heating things.
Yeah.
Like maybe a stovetop or water or.
You got nailed for some undercooked meat, right?
I served.
Some undercooked chicken, of all things.
I know. But, listen,
I get it's a ghost, but dude.
Listen, hear me out. Now, that was I don't remember. I think that was the last one. Yeah.
That was the Maya. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember exactly. And I know how it happened, too.
Yeah. But back then, chickens were fresher.
You're going to justify this?
I totally justify that you could eat undercooked chicken.
I don't know.
Way back then.
Yeah, you go to
and only now in today's world would that possibly cause problems. But long story short,
you know what I'd say? That it's a ghost.
I served. Yeah, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah, it's a ghost. It can get some salmonella.
I did serve undercooked chicken, and it cost me the star because that was the only criticism, and it sucks because it's a big recipe.
Yeah, dude, the Maya ones were the longest to me. Like
big recipe.
Those ones, I had a lot of fun making the. I don't want to give spoilers on what they.
I know it sucks because there's some things I really want to say and I can't say it because to me it would take away from. Like if I had known everything that I was gonna cook before playing the game, I would have been a little bummed.
Hey Stratus, how you feeling today?
I am feeling ball-tastic, thank you.
Ball-tastic. So before we started recording today, you were telling me you coined a new term?
I have. I'm going to refer to the downstairs nether regions as my nut hut. That's my nut hut area. So you want to keep your nut hut feeling and smelling good? Manscaped has you covered.
So, how's your nut hut doing?
Fantastic.
No bushes, no trees.
I am
no grass.
I am just free nut hutting it. I am loving life.
It's lawn mowed nice.
Lawn mowed nice. Feels nice.
With your lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped.
Got my little refresh spray if I need it.
So yeah, we're definitely having fun talking about Manscaped.com, the leader in men's, self-grooming, I guess, accessories, right?
Absolutely.
If you enjoy Manscaped's products, check them out and be sure to use code word Ruff Talk VR for 20% off. And check this, free shipping.
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty amazing. Their prices are good to begin with, let alone 20% off and some free shipping.
Yeah, so, be sure to visit there, shop around a bit, and use that promo code, Ruff Talk VR, all one word.
Keep that nut hut living good.
Clean, shaven, and smelling nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I went into it knowing there's only 9, and it's been a big complaint people have had is there's only 9 recipes. I would say, well, Schell Games does have a reputation of adding things after their games come out.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've done it before.
Did I expect you to die?
Mm-hmm. So it's like maybe just take in
Until
these
you
9.
fall.
And here's the reality: if you're gonna say, okay, I want to learn how to make one of these recipes, you're gonna have to put that headset on and go back to it a bunch of times, and either take notes or just get so comfortable with. And that's how I think you should really do it: is just get so comfortable with the ingredients that you can go, okay, I can make this, and I won't be a spoiler, but they have drinks. You can make a drink at some point, and you could pretty much pull that off, but it's going to take a while to learn how to make that drink.
No, that was actually going to be something I wanted to say about people saying there's only 9 recipes. Like, they kind of push you in the direction of this game. They're like, they all but say, try this in real life. Like, go out and
1,000,000%.
So, exactly what you said. You can't do one of these recipes one time and think you're good.
No.
I could definitely see if you did a recipe, 4 or 5 times. Oh man, you got a good idea what to do. But it's not if you want to recreate a recipe, yeah, you got to play it a couple times, in my opinion.
Oh, a couple was an understatement.
A minimum.
I was thinking at least 10.
Yeah, I was thinking 5. 5 was my guess, but maybe 5 to 10 is a good range.
And I only say that so you get comfortable with every single thing. Because again, you're not going to look outside the box of what they're giving you. So whatever they say to do, you have to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Right?
Thank God for that book tablet thing, too, because there are some times where they're like, mix this ingredient into this, and I'm like, what freaking container is that in? But what's nice is they give you a nice little picture diary. Yeah.
And you can go backwards. So if you want to go all the way back to the beginning, you don't physically do, but your instructions you can. You can go, maybe I missed something. I've missed ingredients before. And that was strictly out of excitement to be playing the game and making these recipes.
Yeah.
I totally missed it wasn't a crucial ingredient, so I only got gigged a star.
Yeah, I got gigged a star for missing some cinnamon one time.
Mine was basil.
Basil, yeah.
Basil.
The spice. And the thing is, you know what bothered me about missing the cinnamon? That was when I went back to redo, and last time I didn't miss the cinnamon. So I fixed my mistakes on this one, and then made a new mistake. It's happened to me several times. It's tough. But that's why, you should do the recipe several times if you want to recreate it in real life.
That's just letting the competitive side come out in a casual cooking game.
Right?
I mean, for real. It just costs you mistakes.
Well, let's be real. This game is about authenticity. It's educational.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do it as authentic as possible. So if I got 4 stars, I clearly didn't, right? Especially when it's not like I got gigged for presentation. I got gigged for missing an ingredient. That's big. Or misdoing an ingredient. Nah, I got to go back.
Nah, you know what else I liked? The ghosts speak they'll like greet you in their traditional language.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll even say something in their traditional language out while eating it. Like after eating it, if it's really good,
Mm-hmm.
No, they did everything about it. The terminology they used, the native speakers they used, they did a great job.
Nah, I hats off to Schell Games, because
I don't think we've played a bad Schell Games yet.
No.
Schell Games game. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they've been killing it with what they're doing. But this one to me was kind of like I like where they went with it. Do I want more cultures to experience? Absolutely. I mean, I'd pay probably $4.99.
Well, I was actually
have
just about
another.
to say, it's $5 a culture right now. That's totally fair. If they launched what Schell Games seems to have a history of doing more free updates, but if they went the route of a DLC, I would buy a Japan or whatever.
Japan was going to be the next one that I'd like to do.
Yeah, no, there's so much, dude. There's so much potential. I would love to know how long each one of these civilizations took to do.
From start to finish?
Oh my God! Just in research of the recipes, the terms used, the proper techniques, the methods.
Well, yeah, you got to figure they use actual research people to make this game. So I'm sure there was a lot of like tabletop discussions of like, nope, they wouldn't have done that, or that wasn't possible, or just to make sure that nobody could ever call them out on the authenticity of the game.
Yeah, but I don't know. For somebody like me, I have a real soft spot for food things. Like, I love to cook. I love to eat. I love cooking shows.
Yeah,
I love the education behind it. I love learning the history of things. This is like a little like parts unknown.
Listen,
in a game.
This opens the door now for like, you know, renowned chefs to like, if they wanted to and have their own cooking type situation going on in VR, you know, it could be done.
Yeah, well, just to expand on something you said,
maybe more of with a technique focus, obviously, but the educational factor would still be there.
Absolutely. You had called this an equivalency of reading a recipe. There's no way. It's at least double reading a recipe. I would love to see major chefs.
No, you're misunderstanding what I said.
Okay.
Totally.
I definitely did.
Yeah,
definitely. But I would love to see more major chefs go the route of doing like trainings in VR like that. Like, have an app where they can teach you a couple recipes. That would be twice as good as watching anything or reading anything.
I would rather, and I mean, it's just how I learn. It's like, I can read a recipe and do it. I'm sure most people can. But if you give me the ability to do something, it becomes one of those, like, you don't forget it type of things. So if like you could have a cooking training thing on just technique, on let's say julienning, and be like, okay, that's all you're gonna, until like you really were doing it properly, and then you could take that into the real world, man, that's worth its weight in gold. Now I'm just saying more than julienning, you know. Yeah, it could be anything. It'd be shredding cheese. I mean,
it's just a complicated technique that came up earlier in the podcast. That's all.
Or how about, boy, you could just take it anywhere. I was just thinking of like being able to put a meal together and know like what wine should go with what, and you know, because I don't know all those rules. I'll totally admit it. You serve me a nice steak, I don't know what wine is supposed to go with a nice steak. I'm ignorant. But if there was a VR world and then I was tasked with having to serve a wine with that steak and it had to be the right wine, I would learn it and I'd probably never forget it. It's really weird. But if I read it, I wouldn't remember it. Not like that. I just don't learn that way.
This definitely opened the door. How cool was some of the wine dishes that they had you serve into? There's one wine dish that they have, and I'm like, I was like, I need to buy that.
Yeah, there was a couple of, I don't know. There was some things that I definitely want, and I know you and I had discussed, like, we need to make one of these for sure.
Yeah, there's two recipes that stick out to me that, you know, one from the Greek and one from the Maya that I'm like, I think
it could be done
with, you know, not with ease, obviously.
None of these are going to be easy in the real world.
No,
but I think the reward for it is going to be next level.
Yeah,
I think it's one of those, to know that you cooked something that, and that's another thing. They're almost encouraging, like, look, these are all family recipes that go way back when, and you can make these part of your family, and make these your recipes. And there's no reason. I mean, the only reason I say you probably couldn't is some of the ingredients. I don't necessarily know I've heard of every one of these ingredients before.
No, but they'll use some names for them that aren't what's used now. But they'll be like, just so you know, this is what it's called now. But yeah, there's some of them I had never heard of.
Dude, there was one ingredient, I'm not going to lie, based on what it said it was. And then the lady explains that it's not what you think. And I'm like, oh my God, I never knew that. And then there's something about a vanilla bean that they educate you about. And that just blew my freaking mind because I had never known that.
Yeah.
Vanilla bean, I never knew that.
I love those small little details they throw at you. No, they did a great job. When I say if I want more cultures or more recipes, it's not because I feel like that there's a shallow amount in the game. I think that the game is polished amazingly and very worth the buck. I just want more civilization because I want to learn more.
I want to learn more.
Yeah, I think that this is a great concept to teach people.
So here's the one feature that they don't have that I wish it had in the game.
What's that?
The ability to turn off the directions and instructions. So you go in there and they say you need to make this dish, and they have all the ingredients out and the whole 9 yards, because each little kitchen area that you cook in is authentic to the kitchen area that it would have been way back when, which is also wicked cool. It's not like a modernized kitchen with, old recipes. But if they let you turn that off, so you had to rely on nothing but your knowledge and remembrance of, okay, how do I make this particular dish, and get no help, and then serve it, pass or fail, and see what happens. But that option does not exist.
No. A creative mode would be cool too if they threw a bunch of different just base ingredients at you. That would be real cool, and like let you kind of experiment. But I get why not. You know, the game's
it's
very clearly designed.
accurate.
Yeah,
they're shooting for accuracy, education. I don't even want to call it a game. I think it's misleading because it's not really a game. It's more of a cooking experience.
Yeah, cooking tutorial. But
yeah, definitely hands-on cooking tutorial using authentic recipes, and I don't know. I have nothing negative to say, other than just selfish wants, like, oh, I wish I could turn off all the help and all that shit. But whatever.
Yeah, it's not even what the game's about. But I get exactly what you mean. It's things that you think would. We always talk about this with games. It's sometimes we'll finish a game and there's like, you have wants, but it's not because the game's missing it or because. It really needs it. It's just you sit down and go, in a perfect world, if I could choose anything, what would I have? And that's kind of what that is,
Absolutely. I couldn't have done what they did, so, hats off.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it to be as good. I knew it was going to be good because, let's be honest, it's food. And if we had fun with Cookout, and this is no stress cooking, it's not multiplayer either. So you're kind of on your own with your ghost, your ghost mentor.
No, but look, check this. We did party chat a couple times playing this game, and I don't think we talked much.
Not once.
We were pretty quiet because you get so focused, and you're like,
well, you don't want to miss the value of what's being said either.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you can read on your cooking board and go, okay, I got to mix those ingredients, but there's something about them saying like, hey, did you know that? And the minute you hear shit like that, it's like, okay, we're getting into the authenticity part of all this, whether it be salt or pork fat or some other ingredient you might come across or whatever, you're going to get an education with it. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Hats off to Schell Games on this one. You want to get into our final thoughts and things like that? So
go for it.
Let me do some please, sir, may I have some more begging, like always. Before we go into our final thoughts, I like to tell everybody, if you've been enjoying this episode, be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Rate us 5 stars. Go join our official subreddit. You can find that link in our show notes or reddit.com/r/RuffTalkVR. If you're international, rufftalkvr.reddit.com. You can also find the link for our Discord server, our sponsor, Manscaped. Check out the Lawnmower 4.0, get a nice clean shave, all that stuff. But yeah, communities are growing big, Sometimes we do some community games, we do some giveaways, we do a lot of fun stuff there. So get the latest scoop on new episodes, talk to us, ask us questions, all that fun stuff.
Absolutely.
So other than that, time for the ratings. So we do our rating category in 4 different categories. We do gameplay, aesthetics, functionality, and replayability, each rated on a scale of 1 to 25, with the total being the final score. So I'll start with gameplay, 25 out of 25. I can't nail anything with them. I mean, the authenticity is amazing. I actually like that they don't make you individually sit there and grind something for 2 minutes like it might take in real life, or perfectly julienne something. I think the times that they make you cut accurately, like with shaping something, it makes sense, and the times that they kind of hold your hand makes sense. The gameplay is amazing, 25 out of 25. Aesthetics, it's really cute, fun, pretty good graphics, but I can't give them a 25 out of 25. It's not like, stunning, like, oh my God, I can't believe they're running this on the Quest. But they're good graphics. I'll give them a 20 out of 25. No complaints. They're just not best in the world, but nothing bad to say in terms of aesthetics. Functionality, I'm going to give them a 20 as well. I didn't have any glitches. I didn't have any crashes, anything like that. But there's some quality of life things that could exist. So, example, your only option of movement is teleportation and grabbing and pulling yourself. That's pretty inconvenient. There's no actual, walking, which can be inconvenient, moving some things. Also, if you're like me and you want to restart a recipe, like I did a couple times because I might have shaped something wrong, there's no back to menu option or anything like that. It makes a little sense, but like you'll pause the menu, and then all that's there is the list of recipes on the right. So it's like the pause menu is almost the main menu. There's not just like an intuitive restart recipe or exit to menu. I know that sounds kind of silly, but just it's an initial user interface shock. Like, whoa, what's going on? Just in the pause menu. So functionality, I'm going to give them a 20 out of 25. And replayability, I'm going to give them a 15 out of 25. And I went really back and forth of if I do 20 out of 25 or 15 out of 25. And I'm even saying 15 out of 25. I'm still having that little mental back and forth on it because I feel a little mean saying that because it's a great game. It's just it doesn't shine in replayability by any means. That's not like the highlight of it. Where this game is replayable is if you go to recreate one of the dishes. Like we said earlier, you have to do the dish multiple times, in my opinion, if you really want to do it. But, you know, just to be fair, it's not like one that you're going to go back and play, you know, like some of the games like Population 1 that we play all the time. That would be a clear 25 out of 25 replayability. It's not like that. So I'll give them 15 out of 25 on replayability. So 25, 20, 20, and 15, total of 80.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so gameplay, I love it. I gave him a 25. If they had stretched outside the bounds of authenticity, I would have knocked the score down. But because this is authentic from start to finish, with each culture and recipe and method and term, and even dumbing it down sometimes and giving you multiple terms, yeah, absolutely 25. Aesthetics, I've seen better from Schell Games. I give them a 20. And, you know, you set your own bar. I mean, I can't be more honest than that. I've seen some Schell Games that have better detail. And I'm not saying the graphics are shitty by any stretch. But there's certain areas where I think it probably could have been graphically better. But it's still fantastic to me, so they get a 20. Functionality, I'm on board with you. The teleporting caused some issues occasionally for me while holding certain things, but whatever. It's still worthy of a 20 because it's not a deal killer. I actually got more used to grabbing my countertop and moving myself around and teleporting. Replayability, I give them a 20. And that's only because if you're getting it, you're probably really into food because you obviously read the description of the game and you kind of got the gist of what it's about. So you're probably looking to carry this over in some sense to real life. And you're going to be forced to play it more than once, no matter what, unless you're just one of those, you know, I can hear something once and never touch it again, you know. So, yeah, I give them a 20 for a total of 85.
Yeah, it sucks. I feel like our rating system, it just doesn't do them justice in terms of the score because somebody might hear 80, 85. Well,
if there was an educational, and we don't have that because it's just, it is what it is. But if there was a value or a number you could put on the educational value of it, it's a 25.
Yeah, I mean,
it would be a perfect score.
For anybody who likes food or cooking or those kind of cooking shows or just any type of educational experience, I'd say it's a must-buy. It's just somebody might hear 80, 85, like, you know, that sounds a little average, but they sit there and praise it. It's just the way our review system.
It's just if you look at the categories we
have.
It's
just the way it goes.
What it is. It's not.
Gameplay's held equally to replayability and everything like that. You know, if gameplay was 50% of the score, they would be, you know.
Yeah, if anybody asked me, you know, is it worth it?
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
For $14.99, it's totally worth it. No bullshit. I would have paid 20. And I wouldn't have been upset at my experience because I went into it with the intention of wanting to learn.
Yeah, and like you said, I would pay $5 for another culture, heartbeat,
all day long.
Yeah,
if they kept them coming, but who knows? I mean, it could be dead. It could be stuff coming. To me, it doesn't matter if for the price. It's like come on,
it's complete. It's good.
I like the way you said it. It's basically $5 a culture. So
yeah,
you know, what do you got to lose?
My only things that I'm like, I would like to see them update, please, is the quality of life thing, like teleporting or smooth traveling instead of teleporting.
It helps when you're trying to bring
liquids.
If you're double fisting liquids to one area to the next. It just doesn't work. So
and it sucks if you spill something. and then it's like let me
Gotta
go back in
redo it.
that book and
Yep. You gotta
and
remake
start
it.
again. Which that would be tough if you didn't have the recipe follower like in your little request. If they could have you have it shut off,
So I'm
that would be
saying
tough.
if they gave you no,
Which you could just not use the book, not. But
yeah,
still,
but they still
it's
you'd
there.
have to turn your sound off too then,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
true.
going to ruin some of the immersion with
Mm-hmm.
some of the sound effects.
You could call it like expert mode or something like that, challenge mode.
It's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Take it
that
to
would
the
be
next
cool.
level.
That would be a cool little way to add replayability without creating new content.
Because if you can get 5-star in any one of the recipes,
Oh my god! Without the guide,
without the guide, no direction, man.
you can do the recipe in real life.
Yeah, you shut that headset off and go fire it up for your family because you just figured it out.
Yeah. So definitely, there's a dish or two I wanna try to recreate.
I think it's a game changer for learning recipes.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Like
Much
I said,
better than television.
I'd love to see more experiences like this come out that are based off of teaching you specific dishes or techniques or whatever. I think that this,
Yep, techniques and recipes. I'd be down all day long to. Yeah, I would, dude. I totally watch it.
and I wouldn't.
And I'm not saying like, a YouTube video of somebody that you can watch YouTube in VR.
No, like this style
Like
where it
physically
interacts
there.
with you and
Yeah.
tells you this is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Judges you.
Oh my god.
Come on.
And you know what's funny? It's always amazing the things that entertain me in VR. I never would have thought that
Cooking.
cooking, like game tutorial would be like something
good,
I'm craving.
How good did some of that food actually sound though?
Yeah, no, there's a couple of them. I'm like, like the fruit stick one that one's simple. That one's real simple.
All right, we're gonna shut up because you're just
It's gonna-
spoiling.
Yeah, fruit stick. That's it. Fruit stick could mean a lot of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
could.
All right.
Yeah, I got nothing more to say.
Yeah, it's tough to go into this without spoiling. So I agree. We'll shut
You didn't
up there.
get too many spoilers, just a couple.
No, just a couple. All right, so hope you guys enjoy this episode. Like I said before, if you enjoyed, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, join the subreddit, and stay tuned for next one.
See you later.